but only after a detour into the distant past. As you now know, this is my 50th anniversary of ordination. And back in the day, we old geezers were invited to address the assembly. Those old pastors usually thanked their spouses, asserted that it was a privilege to serve the gospel, and told something funny or odd from the past. These days, we old pastors no longer get to address the assembly, unless you just happen to be the secretary and are given an open mic. So what do I want to say? I certainly do thank my wife, Cindy, for being a good helpmeet, an old term you never hear anymore. Yes, thank you. I want to express my thanks for all of the interesting, varied, wonderful calls I've had along the way. And I want to tell you something about how incredibly odd the church was back in the halcyon days of the 1970s. Back then, there was a big push to separate union churches, to break up parishes, and to encourage congregations to have pastors of their very own. For example, my home pastor, when I was confirmed, Burlington B. Latshaw Jr., was our Valley View congregation's first full-time pastor. My first call was to St. James Geigertown, where my immediate predecessor, Andy Stauffer, was St. James' first full-time pastor in the 120 years of its existence. About the same time, one of my much later congregations, Friedensburg, ended its union church situation of sharing a building and ended a parish arrangement whereby 3 congregations were served by 1 pastor. Many other examples could be given. How was that possible? Well, lots of people were going to church, and there were many, many Lutheran pastors. Here is my 1972 graduating class from the Philadelphia Seminary. We were the first class of baby boomers, 34 pastors, 1 deacon. Doesn't he look so nice and young? Because of going for an additional year of seminary, thanks to a Lutheran Brotherhood scholarship, I was actually ordained the following year as part of our synod's 1973 cohort of ordinands, with 13 of us ordained on May 24th in 1 grand service and 2 others ordained later. As you can see, in the 1970s, there were big graduating classes. That's how different those olden, golden days were as compared to today. And that brings us to the report of the secretary. Look at the report and see how many people are being ordained in the 2020s. Especially as compared to how many pastors retire each year. If we go back 10 years to the time my baby boom contemporaries started to retire, you'll find that the cumulative gap between persons newly ordained and those who retired is 79. I'm referring now only to ministers of word and sacrament. That is, we lost almost 80 pastors in the last 10 years. 80. That is a significant number in a synod of roughly 245 congregations and worshiping communities. No wonder we have so many pastoral vacancies. We cannot begin to provide 1 pastor for 1 congregation anymore as the norm and goal. That kind of thinking is as realistic in the year 2023 as you're wanting to enlist tomorrow to fight in the Vietnam War, or you're going out tonight to celebrate the second inauguration of Richard Nixon. Believe it or not, back in 1973, we did already have the Bible. And so we knew Philippians chapter 2, verse 4. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but to the interests of others. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but to the interests of others. That biblical directive is essential today if we are going to have the pastoral care for all of our congregations. Only by sharing can everyone be served. Only by sharing can everyone be served. Or did I say that already? We old people sure like to repeat things. In any case, that's something from the past and something of the present. What about the future? Well, if I look 50 years ahead, here is what I see for myself.
I'll take it. There's excellent legroom. I like the color, but if I'm going to be in any length of time, I could use a little more back support.
Yes, there are people here today who will attend the 2073 Synod Assembly, but not me. I don't have that choice. But our congregations and this synod do have choices. Will we deal with reality, the reality of 2023? Or will we pretend that this is still 1973? Will we indeed look to the interests of others, the interests of all of our congregations and their members? Or will we think only about ourselves? 1973 was a great year. I married the love of my life, went to an almost perfect congregation in Geigertown, could still enjoy the company of my wonderful father and mother. Only mother is still alive at age 107. Thank you. As well as the company of great in-laws, uncles and aunts, and many others who have passed. In 1973, I got to work with a true mentor, Dave Gottschall, and the other faithful pastors of our cluster in southeastern Berks County. But 1973 is gone, gone. Today is a new day with a new church. Maybe you think that's good, maybe you think that's bad, but it's the church that we have. A church that requires cooperating and keeping in mind the needs of others so that there will be a synod here in 2073 when about to be ordained Dylan Epler can tell everyone about how great church life was in 2023. Amen.
Oh, this next thing's going to be sweet. Because the only person that didn't stand up has to come over here and stand next to me. Come here, come hither, Mr. Secretary. I need you to stand here, A, so you can be well seen, and because this is the maximum embarrassment spot. Stay where you are.
Okay.
That wasn't for Chipotle, that was for you. Don't look in that bag. There's nothing for you to see in there. It's all surprises.
Very big one.
Secretary Shankweiler, we have some gifts for you. They each have meaning. And they're color-coded, so I know what they are.
Oh.
This first gift recognizes your wonderful speaking ability, the way to keep us laughing, even amidst the most mundane things. You keep us laughing. Open this. I know it's light. It is a golden microphone.
Yes.
It's wrapped in red tissue paper, not only to match the colors of our assembly, but because that's how embarrassed you've made me some of the times when you've said some of these things. Yes, you could sit that back there with Rachel. Your second gift is a tribute to your writing ability. The wonderful notes that he has put together, the minutes with great detail and precision. We thought that we should get you a large bucket of ink for the numbers, especially you've had to do this year. But this is to go along and to recognize all of that writing that you have done as secretary.
Oh, very beautiful pen.
It is a
Thank
pen,
you.
and what does it say on that pen?
Shankweiler.
Yes, including the cover.
Wow, very nice.
An engraved pen.
Does it work?
I don't know if it writes or not. No, that's a different story. This third gift connects to that work because you've had to focus on the fine details of a lot of meetings that we have and keep track of very complicated resolutions and things. But you're always great with fine details. And also, you have a hobby that is involved in fine details, stamp collecting.
Yes.
And so this relates to both of those.
Oh,
It is a fine mother of pearl handled magnifying glass. And from now on, anything else that you have to write, you could just burn it with the sun if you have to.
very good.
Yeah. Now, you know me and how I have almost an obsession with things in threes. So you think I would be done, right?
Yeah.
No, we've got one more. And it's kind of special. It's gone from the bit goofy to something that we hope is kind of significant. It involves a conspiracy between myself and your wife to say, what could we get for Carl that he doesn't have? And he has a lot of things, including a lot of archival, ancient things. What could we get that he doesn't have? And so she came up with an idea, and we followed through with it. And I want to present it to you now. It's wrapped in white, not because of any purity you have, God knows. But because it is tied to sacred memories and to things that matter to you and to places that are important to you. So it's a little bit fragile, so open it carefully. Be sure and use the lip of my podium here to do that. And of course I taped it, so it's going to be even worse. And no, it's not a green dish towel, but it is wrapping that thing that's inside.
Oh,
This is a decorative mirror celebrating a local business in Valley View, Higgins,
yes.
the Collier, which I think is basically the coal mine, right? Isn't that the name
Yeah.
for a
Colliery
coal
would be it.
mine? And so Otto and Son is being celebrated here, and there's also a rather unique picture. You can show it to the camera there. I think we could pick that up. Can you get in that close? It features a boy with a dog, and he's seeking a dog license, which costs $2, and he only has $1. That says something about Carl, I think.
Wonderful.
So it's in that zone of the $1.25 sticky bun, and totally done by the Holy Spirit. That's just the way it works. Carl, we love you. I'm not going to pack a whole lot more words, except to say you have put so much into our hearts. There will be a hole not having you present with us in this way. And yet you have set us up so well to do our work well. And I've learned much from you, and that's not done yet. But in this particular role, your patience, your care, your wisdom, and your ability to challenge in a way that gets us to see has been undoubtedly beneficial to every single person in this synod, to the mission districts and congregations you've worked in, to the staff and the councils that you've worked with, and to the bishops, me not the least.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You may be seated.
May I say just...
You may say something, yes, please.
Thank you very much. My home pastor I mentioned, he arranged for me to come to a synod assembly while I was still a student. So I started coming to these things actually before I was ordained. I was first here as a layperson. It was as a layperson I was part of the 1970 LCA convention, as they were called, when I got to vote for the ordination of women. I am that old. So this was always something shown to me as important, that we're not just in a congregation, but we're part of a synod and part of a larger church. So thank you very much. One little detail you may find interesting. Buffington Reed Funeral Home graciously allowed me the use of that coffin, and I was the first live person ever to be in one of their coffins that they know of. Other than for the dog of the owner. And what I learned, you probably don't know this, they are not comfortable. You are lying there on metal straps that are not comfortable. It's not like you're in a cushion or a sofa. It's not nice. So I encourage you to put it off as long as you can. Thank you.